Welcome everyone, and thank you for watching this 2Cs video. My name is Wim Schreurs, Project Officer at the Joint Secretariat, and I will tell you something more about the intervention logic. In this video, I will tell you about the intervention logic, the theory of change where this logic originates, and the whole logic of objectives, outputs, results. In the greater scheme of things, the project lifecycle, we are currently at the develop your proposal stage. Make sure to check out other videos for the different stages in the project lifecycle. The intervention logic, as I mentioned, originates in the theory of change. This theory stipulates that you take stock of a current situation, assess the needs, assess things that go wrong, and identify what you want to change to this certain situation. Of course, the question you need to ask yourself as well is, how do I achieve this change? We, as the 2Cs program, have translated this theory of change into a program intervention logic. Our needs analysis, or taking stock of the current situation, is what you can find in the cooperation program. This program contains the SWOT analysis of the entire 2Cs area and the different needs that originate there. This has led us to identify certain program-specific objectives, which you can read in the cooperation program. And to achieve these objectives, we will fund certain actions, which are ultimately your projects. These projects then, in turn, will generate outputs that will contribute to our program output indicators, which in turn will contribute to our result indicators. And it's for us very important to check whether what we achieve in results is actually in line with the program-specific objectives we had set out in the beginning. This program intervention logic, as I said, translates into a project intervention logic of your actions, your projects. To translate this intervention logic concept to your project, you will definitely start from identifying the territorial needs, based on what is already in the SWOT analysis of the cooperation program. You will have to identify in our region what is the broken thing on the ground, what is going wrong, and what do I want to change. This change that you want to achieve is your project objective. And to achieve this change, you will identify activities. What do I need to do to achieve the certain objective? These activities will lead to outputs, physical things that you develop, and each and every output will have a benefit or result from generating this output. Again, it's very important to check all the time whether the results you achieve are still in line with the objectives you had set out in the beginning. Let's look at definitions of the different concepts we have already mentioned. Your project overall objective is actually what your project is trying to achieve, in line with the program-specific objectives that we mentioned earlier. The project-specific objective is then a means to basically cut up your main objective into smaller parts, break it down in sub-strategies. The outputs, as I said, is what you will concretely deliver. Can be a pilot, a piece of equipment, a study. And the results is the direct benefit or advantage of producing this output. The specific results will then lead to a main result, which is in line with your project objective, the change that you will have realized at the end of your project. Then we need to, of course, integrate the both logics. Your project intervention logic obviously integrates into our program intervention logic, because we as a program can only achieve our objectives if you as a project achieve yours. In this slide, you will see that the project main objective will lead to a project main result, and that they will both translate into contribution to program objectives and program result indicators. A project is then divided into different specific objectives, and within objective you have activities that lead to certain outputs. On the right column you will see that your outputs each lead to a project-specific result, a direct benefit or an advantage, and these in turn will lead into the project main result. As such, you can see that there is a logic cycle between what is happening in your project and what is happening on the program level. The first thing to take into account is to identify very good and smartly identified objectives. The SMART principle, to recapitulate, S stands for specific. Your objective needs to be very specific. It needs to be measurable as well. It needs to be achievable within the time frame of your project. It needs to be relevant, of course, meaning that it contributes to the different program objectives. And it needs to be time related. Make sure to really define it within the time that you have in the program and in the project. To give you an example, we have a program-specific objective that is called increasing the adoption of low-carbon technologies in the 2Cs area. For a project, a specific objective that contributes to this program objective could be the following. The project will increase the production of marine energy in the North Sea and the Channel with 20% by 2020. You see that this objective is specific. You will increase the production of marine energy. It is achievable. It's being done by 2020, which is in the time frame of a project, 3 to 4 years. It's relevant because it's a low carbon technology that you will adopt. It is also time related and it's measurable. You will increase the production by 20% and you will do so by 2020. Next thing to think about is output. How are you going to concretely achieve the objectives that you set? An output is basically a sort of tool to achieve the objective that you had identified. You need to make sure that this output can be viable also after the project ends, so that the benefits that it generates can continue, and that it's measurable and in line, of course, with the program output indicators that are identified for each specific objective. Last but not least, your output should be durable. It cannot be the intention to deliver something during the project and delete it afterwards. We are really looking for outputs that continue on existing even after the project duration. Next step is the project results. As I said, each output will lead to a certain specific benefit, which in turn will lead to a main result. It's very important that these results are quantifiable, that they are measurable, and that they are in line with the program result indicators, which again are identified per program-specific objective. Make sure that your result is not just a description of your output. It's really a direct advantage, a direct benefit of producing a certain output. Your project output will lead to change, will contribute to your program objective. One output stands for one specific result. Even though it's possible that there's multiple results that you can imagine for one output, but try to make sure that you identify the main specific result, the main specific benefit of a given output. The logic should be that adding up all these results, taking them together, integrating them, that this will lead to the project main result. And this project main result, of course, relates to your project objective. To give you an example, still in the specific objective of increasing the adoption of low carbon technologies, the outputs that you could imagine for a project in this objective is first of all a rather soft output, developing a joint strategy to develop marine energy parks. It's a very concrete output, a concrete thing that you deliver, and this will lead to some short-term benefits, being that there are 3 new small-scale energy parks in the 2Cs area that are being developed. A next output could be the implementation of a tidal energy pilot. Again, this is a very concrete piece of equipment or an installation that will lead to the creation of 50,000 megawatt hours of electricity per year, which of course is the specific result. It's the immediate benefit of implementing this output. A final output could be an implementation of a wave energy pilot, which in turn, or which again, will create 50,000 megawatt hours of electricity per year. If we then translate this to a higher level, all the 3 specific results will lead to your project main result of providing electricity to 15,000 households by 2020. In doing so, because we are still talking about low carbon technologies, you will also save X amount of CO2 emissions. In this slide, you can see that the 3 specific results clearly add to your project main result. And furthermore, that your project main result is in line with the result indicator identified for the low carbon technologies specific objective. Make sure to also check the result-oriented project checklist, which is on our website. This is a very handy tool. It's a sort of checklist with questions that you can answer yes or no and see whether you are actually developing good results. Once this is all done, then you can start thinking about your partnership. Who do I need to make this or to bring this to a good end? Some things to remember when building your partnership is that we are the Interreg 2Cs program and that we work along the maritime border of the North Sea and the Channel. There's some minimum requirements. You need at least 2 partners, of which one has to come from the United Kingdom. More important, however, is to build the right partnership. What we as a program are looking for to achieve as much change and as durable change as possible is to have a quadruple helix of partners in your partnership. This means that we try to involve the academic sector, the private sector, the public sector, as well as civil society. We have as a program developed also some tools to help you establishing your partnership. Make sure to check out the Cooperation Corner on our website, and as well as the territorial facilitators and their contact details. Last but not least, we are a cross-border cooperation program. So a very important question to ask yourself when developing your proposal is, why do I need a cross-border program to achieve the objectives I have set? How can I put this in practice? Remember as well that your application in the end will be a roadmap for the entire lifetime of your project. Therefore, the intervention logic needs to be as tight as possible. It's not to say that it cannot change along the way, but it's a contractual document, so make sure that what you write in it you can actually deliver. For further questions, you can always contact us by email, on Twitter, or even on LinkedIn. And don't forget to check our website, interreg2cs.eu. Thank you for watching and see you next time.